Hello and welcome. This is a Mystic Wisdom video in my series about meditation and light and sound and how all those things come together in the process of creating our reality. Now, I don't know whether you've come across a physicist called Fred Alan Wolf. He's sometimes called Dr. Quantum. And Fred was a professor of physics at one time, but then he went off on a trail of discovering all about different mystical traditions, including the Indian tradition that comes out of the Vedas, and also Kabbalah and so forth. So he's a very interesting man, explorer of consciousness and the relationship of consciousness with the material world. And that's something that's really important to kind of begin to at least try to understand. I mean, I have to say, human beings generally don't understand that as yet. But the scientist is attempting to discover what makes the material world. That's why they have these big collider things that they build under the earth, and spend millions and millions of pounds on them to collide different electrons and particles and find out, the invisible processes by which the manifested world arises. Now, let me quote you something from Fred, which I've got in my little notebook where I make my notes about these things. So one of the things that I came across in Fred was the statement that there is no inherent matter. There is just a mechanism by which something gains the appearance of matter. And in another place he says matter is condensed energy. So matter isn't matter in of itself. It is just energy. It's not something you may well have come across already. But the phrase that can catch our attention is here, a mechanism. There is just a mechanism by which something gains the appearance of matter. Now, in both the yogic tradition and in Kabbalah, the mechanisms are to do with sounds, with the sounds that are then incorporated into the languages, the Sanskrit language, the Hebrew language. Both make these claims. They both claim that the sounds that are spoken or interiorized are, in the Hebrew tradition, called evanim, building blocks. And for the Kabbalah, the alphabet, the Hebrew alphabet, consists of a series of vibrational tools, building blocks, out of which creation is made. And this is why, over the generations, the Kabbalists claimed that they could transform the material world into something different. There's a famous story of stones into roses when the Jewish people were being pounded by anti-Semitic enemies in the ghettos of Poland. Many centuries ago this was. And the Kabbalists came out and the stones turned to roses. Unfortunately, one might suggest that by doing that, they create more animosity because the people throwing the stones are not very happy about being confronted by people who can do basically magic. The yogis are saying something very similar about the way that sound can transform the material world. The yogic tradition is very densely populated by yogic mantras, thousands and thousands of mantras. The whole idea of a mantra is that the world is made of mantra. So when you come to meditate, the sounds that you introduce into your mind, into your spiritual, mental, emotional, physical body complex that is you, the sounds that you introduce can have really a great significance and great influence. And if you choose to sit carefully, then it will not just have perhaps a soothing effect, but a transformative effect as well. And in the Schaefer method, what I've suggested people should try and regard it as an experiment for yourself is to introduce different sounds, different impulses, if you like, vibrational impulses, not just by making sounds with your voice or sounds in your mind, but by using the little images, the tiny little letters, shapes, characters, I call them, and visualizing those in your mind, and each one will carry an intention. And you can experiment with these kind of things for yourself by testing, just test sounds. In the blog that goes with this video, I've suggested, how you can just hum or shh or or ah, those primordial sounds, really basic ones, and you can test what they do to your body if you lie in your bed or on the floor, covering yourself with a duvet or a blanket, and by covering yourself you're helping the sound stay in rather than go outwards, you see. So you're holding it and containing it within your own system. Just experiment with that, and then you will start to discover what potential those sounds could have for vibrating in your system. And that's a very sort of primitive, not very sophisticated development from this basic concept, but you can take it as far as you like, really. And that, of course, is what people who do advanced yogic techniques will be doing all the time. And it's not necessarily right for people who are running an ordinary household to want to go that deeply or that into that kind of advanced complexity, if you like. And you can choose how far to take it according to your own lifestyle, your age, your responsibilities. As you get older, you may have more time to yourself, and you may just say, okay, I'll go with this, and keep a diary and see how things change in your life. And if you want some guidance, then try the Schaefer method, and then you can start working with the characters in your meditation. And the way I presented that is quite simple. It's not so complex that you can't introduce it into your daily life. And that's the idea of the teachings that I offer, mystical wisdom for modern lives, so that more people can join in working with the vibrations of the universe to create more harmony for themselves, for their family, and for the wider circle of humanity. So, if you don't meditate already, preferably twice a day for 20 minutes each time, then why not start now? Look at the Schaefer method and find out on my website, Theolyn.com, find out all about the characters that you can start working with when you learn the Schaefer method. So keep meditating, keep shining, many blessings, and see you again before long. Goodbye.